All right, everybody, here we are to talk about Ethereum. So Ethereum, we're going to start back on right before midnight on on April the 8th. So we're kind of doing analysis here, looking at the 1 hour chart. I'm using the 1 hour chart because there are several indicators that we can use here that will give us a really clear view of market movements and maybe give us some indications as to where we could potentially be going. So I have a GAN fan that's taken me from this bottom point down here, which happens to be about 0.055. Well, we'll call it 0.055, a little higher than that, of course. And up here to our peak, which was at 0.063. Now, I'll bet you never guess where the pump on Bitcoin was. It was right here on this humongous red candle. You can also see there was a ton of volume that happened here. Now, I want to take this opportunity to say, for those of you that were in Ethereum, you may have seen your USD value on Ethereum go up really high. But one of the reasons why investors cash out of their altcoin investments and go into their Bitcoin investments is because, especially for big coins, top coins like Ethereum, Litecoin, and some of the others, including Cardano, the ones that are have a really predictable movement based on the movement of Bitcoin, is even though the USD value of Ethereum went up, consider this. Consider selling your Ethereum, buying Bitcoin when Bitcoin is going on a rise if you can get it early, right? So I've always said that you shouldn't buy the rise if it's already taken off. You're better off pretty much just doing it, leaving it the way that you've got it. However, if your altcoin hasn't started to dump yet, you may want to consider moving to Bitcoin, because your USD value is still going to rise at a very similar percent, and more probable is you're going to see your USD value increase even more, because Ethereum, Litecoin, all of these coins have a high tether to your Bitcoin USD value, and yes, the USD value of Ethereum has risen. However, you could have sold your Ethereum, waited for the bottom to occur, and then bought back in to get more Ethereum, right? Because the value went, we can see here, it went from 0.062 all the way down. And I mean, it bottomed out at 0.059, but there was a lot of support here. But it really kind of bottomed out at almost 0.06. So that's a significant drop where you could have accumulated more Ethereum. Now, that's the key, accumulated more Ethereum. Think about that for a moment, because if you accumulate more Ethereum, not only did your USD value go up, but it went up even more because you were able to accumulate more Ethereum. So when Ethereum does its recovery, which it has done and gotten back to its original point, you've gained that much more USD value, and you're also gaining that much more Bitcoin value because the Bitcoin value of Ethereum recovered. And we can see the recovery that happened. But now let's take a look at this chart. I want to point out some really important key indicators that we can see here that will help us predict where some of these support and resistance levels lie. So we're going to look at the chart as it moves up. And so what we're looking at here, we're on the 1 hour chart. So we're looking at the 25 hour, the 50 hour, the 100 hour, and the 200 hour moving average. Okay, so take these into account, and we can see as the price goes up, as it crosses the 25-hour moving average, right? This would be a clear sign of a buy. And you can see we exited a squeeze on the upside, right? And we see the price, it went up pretty high. That's a pretty significant rise right there in your value. Now, we're seeing it stay above, it gets close to your moving average, but it never closes under it, right? We did see it kind of dip under this moving average here just a little bit. Not too much to be concerned with, especially if you bought all the way down here. So then we saw it recover. We did see some resistance when we crossed below this 25-hour moving average. we saw some resistance. We saw it close under this moving average for 2 consecutive hours. But eventually it did recover. We're back above, and we continue to be back above. And you can see for this whole period of time right here, we're basically touching this moving average almost every hour. And in some cases, we do dip below it on a couple hours. But then we see a rise, and this is where our top was, which was basically 0.063. We can look at the order books to sort of determine where that cap is going to be. But now, when we saw a profit take happen, you can see that we found support on this moving average. So there were people that were buying when it touched this moving average, right? So we saw a recovery, right? And then this is where Bitcoin decided to do its thing, and the Bitcoin value of Ethereum went down. Now, again, the Bitcoin, not the Bitcoin, the USD value of Ethereum went up because of the tetherment to the Bitcoin USD. You're comparing the USD based on the price of Bitcoin, whether you like it or not. It's not Ethereum is worth $460. It is the Ethereum Bitcoin equivalent of USD. It comes out to $460. So you have to change your mentality. Again, if you're new to the market, you have to think, are you accumulating BTC or are you accumulating USD? And what is the more efficient way or the most efficient way to make that happen? Anyway, we saw Bitcoin do its massive pump, which caused this massive dump in Ethereum. And we saw lots of support here. And this happens to be the 100-hour moving average. We saw massive support there for these 2 hours. And then it rose back up to the 25-hour moving average. We saw major resistance at that point, because when you're moving down to a key moving average, you find either support if you're moving down towards it, or you see resistance if you're moving up towards it, because that's the way that some auto traders work. It's how some people psychologically do their trading. So we saw another dump, right? But we found a lot more support again here at the 100-hour moving average. We were able to cross through all of the moving averages, and we're currently sitting above. You could see in this particular hour, there was an attempt to go down. There was just way too much support that caused the price to kind of get us right back up to where we were. We're almost back up to 0.063 again. You can see we touched it, this 0.063. I'm on the Bittrex exchange when I'm doing my analysis here. But now, where is Ethereum going to go? That's a really good question, because there's a decent possibility that Bitcoin might make some big moves again. It all is going to depend on volume, but the momentum oscillator we can see has been on the upside, and actually once this flipped over to going to the upside, you can see we were able to see massive gains from this oscillator point where it did show a reversal to the upside. So we're continuing to move to the upside. I would expect to see Ethereum continue to move up. We may be in a small flag pattern at the moment, but we'll wait for that to continue its formation. But if you do see the price to come down, look for support that's going to happen here on the 25-hour moving average, because chances are pretty good. If it does happen to go back down there, we're going to see some major support. If it falls through, chances are good it's going to fall down to another one of these key support lines. And it just so happens that right now the 100-hour moving average is sitting right here on this uptrend line, and so we're pretty much spot on. If we do see a dump, it's probably going to fall somewhere in this area between 0.06 and 0.0605. So likely that's going to be our point where if Ethereum does happen to drop, it's probably going to find a lot of support here at this level. We can see, as far as support goes, we had decent natural volume. I'm going to call this natural volume because the volume that we saw today is all a result of the way that Bitcoin happened to make its moves. But these volume pieces that we're seeing here We're basically trying to find where our support and resistance levels might be. So these are basically our key levels that we're looking for based on volume. But most of the time, take a look at the moving averages. I'm on the hour chart, and I chose the 1 hour chart because there was so much consistency looking at the support on all of these lines, these moving average lines. So I saw it as a good indicator and a good way to help educate everybody on how this can potentially work out. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, feel free to leave some comments, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So have a good night, everybody.